Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to the first episode of Ahmad's Choice of Topic. I like talking about things that you may find useful, such as jam. I mean, you like eating jam, right? Or things you can do to prevent yourself from getting into a jam. How do you travel? Have you practiced riding on a bike? What about a motorbike? Has anyone here ever driven an electric or gas-powered car, such as in kart racing? Has anyone here ever piloted an aircraft, such as a quadcopter, or maybe even a real aircraft? But think about it. What do you do before you need to lift your vehicle into the air, or leave from point A and go to point B? Well, guys, we should do a pre-trip inspection, and you can call this a PTI, pre-trip inspection. So depending on the vehicle, there's often a big number of things which need to be inspected before departure, especially if it's a commercial vehicle. Why? Because commercial vehicles fall under the control of the Department of Transportation, just like human beings would fall under the control or jurisdiction of the Agricultural Administration. Don't believe me? Just research about it for yourself, and always remember to refer to the online legal dictionary when searching about any corporation. But we'll save corporations and jurisdictions for another video, perhaps. But I'm telling you, because you should, as a man or woman, be knowledgeable about keeping your vessels tidy and in good standing. You know what a vessel is, right? A vessel is what surrounds something. A vessel is a body, perhaps, or maybe it's a vase. So it's something to carry something, and that could be a boat, an airplane, a car, spaceship. Oh yeah, your physical body too. That's your own vessel. So let's take a walk around inspection. If you guys are of the age that you're interested in driving or traveling for your own self, then you're going to need to know what you should check before you depart. Okay, so are you ready? Let's take a look. So what you should do is you should use a gauge, a tire gauge. You can check to see if there's adequate air pressure, which is dependent on which type of vehicle it is. So, as you can see here, there's a flat spot on the bottom of this tire, and the tire tread has at least 1 millimeter of tread in it, which in Indonesia is the minimum standard for four-wheel vehicles. So, some vehicles require 100 psi, such as a road bike. But if it's a BMX or mountain bike, or most sedans, you'll want it to be much softer, around 32 psi. Okay, turn the face. Big trucks weighing in at 8,000 pounds to over 120,000 pounds will typically need 100 psi. And aircraft will vary according to their type and their weight as well. So whenever you're ready to leave in your personal multi-rotor aircraft, then you usually don't have to worry about wheels, but perhaps a safety parachute. Okay, in Indonesia, for automotive tires, this should be a minimum tread depth of 1 millimeter. So if you want to go rock climbing with your 4x4 or drag racing, you'll have to adjust the tire pressure to match the best performance for the condition. With high track speed, you'll never want tires which are too low. It can make the vehicle very unstable while cornering. Gates are so noisy. Next, before you depart, you should look under the vehicle for any oil or coolant leaks which may drop to the ground. Fluid loss could be a major reason why engine, drivetrain, or air conditioner fails. So you open the hood and check the fluids. Okay? Check the oil first by pulling out the dipstick. And you wipe it first. Wipe it usually with a shop rag or, in this case, a tissue. Try not to sling the oil everywhere too. Try not to make a mess. And then reinsert it all the way in till it stops, and then pull it back out. And let's look at that here. So as we can see, there is a minimum and a maximum. And since this truck leaks oil, I have put a little bit more than maximum, but it's very important not to put too much oil into the engine. Why is that? Because if you put too much oil in the engine, it will reduce the efficiency of the engine because the crankshaft will have to dip into the oil in the bottom of the engine, and it will actually have more sloshing at the bottom of the engine. Okay, so let's check under the vehicle to see if we see any spots. Okay, shall we? There, you gotta get the ground. There we go. Now you see the oil spot right under this truck, so we know this truck has a really bad oil leak. So if your vehicle has a really bad oil leak, you should at least try to find out why. And in this case, a lot of older trucks might have a plastic part on it which can fracture and leak oil right to the ground. And that's the situation for this particular car. But let's check the coolant level. So if it's hot, you cannot open this. So be sure to respect colors, because colors can tell us that there is potential danger right there to opening this. So if you'll look right down there, there is a indicator on top of the tank which tells us what the cold reading should be. And right here it says Kali. Sorry, it's not Kali, it's Kalt. Kalt or cold. So that is the cold reading, because when it's hot, coolant level will be higher. Cool. So as you can see inside of the hole, there is a half a reservoir of coolant. If you have to add coolant into the reservoir, be sure to never put anything but distilled water into your engine. Distilled water doesn't have any minerals in it. So if you put regular tap water into your coolant system, it can cause premature oxidation, and that can wear out the inside of the radiator. It can also wear out the inside of the circulation pump in there and all the associated parts because of the different metals inside of the engine. You have aluminum and you have a lot of iron inside of the engine, like the crankshaft and the sleeves of the engine. Those are all made out of very hard materials. And if you have an aluminum head and an aluminum block, you have even more dissimilar metals in the system. And there are also some differences between cast aluminum and cast iron. So all these differences can make a huge amount of electrical potential for corrosion. All right. Before we close the hood, we can also check to see if we have plenty of brake fluid in here, and that is real easy to check usually. With brake fluid, you want to make sure it's above the minimum. Okay, the minimum on these brake reservoirs are far down at the bottom. And be sure to check both sides. You're going to have a front and a back side for that. Cool. And if you're not too busy, you can also check the power steering to make sure that there's fluid in here. With the power steering reservoir, it just has to have fluid in it. There's not really a minimum or a maximum. Some of these will typically have a dipstick already on it. So if your dipstick is wet, then you're good to go. Alright, and then before you close the hood, you should always make sure that you have plenty of water in your windshield wiper system. Yep, there's plenty of water in there. And as long as you don't have any leaks, you'll be good to go. So if you're doing a walk around inspection, it's a great time to check and see if all the lights work, right? Alright, you'll cut that. Alright guys, that's it for this episode. I sure appreciate you watching, and be sure to like and subscribe.